All right, here we go. Supreme Court upholds Arizona's voting regulations. All right. On the cover, that sounds pretty good. Well, let's dig into it, shall we? The Supreme Court upheld Arizona's voting regulations, overturning an appeals court ruling that argued the state's restrictions discriminated against minorities. That is, of course, what the Democrats are screaming from the rooftops. It's discriminating. How dare they do this? They're making it more difficult for no, they're not. No, they're not. And they go on to explain it. In a 6-3 opinion by Justice Samuel Alito, the court ruled that Arizona has legal grounds to enforce rules that prohibit third parties from collecting mail-in ballots and disavow votes cast in the wrong precinct, the Wall Street Journal reports. While Democrats argued the regulations discriminated against Native Americans, Latinos, and blacks, at least they didn't say Latinx, or whatever they say. Good for them. Of course, that is not, this isn't a Democratic website. Anyway, Arizona Republican Attorney General Mark Brunovic and the state GOP defended the rules as neutral and reasonable. And I agree with that. Ballot harvesting, having a third party go and collect ballots from people, there was reports from Project Veritas of people helping others fill in their votes, showing them how to do it, telling them like, "Oh, you sure you want to vote that way? You sure you want to vote that way?" I've seen the videos. All right, this isn't some weird conspiracy theory. They have it recorded. Project Veritas did a whole expose on it. All right. In fact, they've got another expose on Ilhan Omar. Having this guy, his whole car was filled with absentee ballots. Were they all filled in correctly? We don't know. I don't know this guy. I didn't vote for this guy. He's not getting paid by the government. He's getting paid by Ilhan Omar to go out and collect ballots. So Arizona basically made it illegal. They're like, you know what? We can't have this. All right? Because and they're right. The rules are neutral and reasonable. It's reasonable that we shouldn't have a third party walking around collecting ballots from people. There's no proof that they didn't tamper anything. Okay? What if they're just collecting them before anything's filled out? No way to check your ID to make sure that it's good. Oh, signature verification. They said that is also discriminating. All right? Because that's what we want in Georgia. They're saying, oh, the Georgia laws. All right, ID and signature verification. What's wrong with that? How is that discriminating? What, because Democrats think that minorities aren't able to get IDs? Yeah, that's literally what it is. They think minorities aren't capable of doing this. We have a president who says these minorities, they can't even figure out how to use the internet. Man, these Democrats, they really do think low of minorities in this country, don't they? It's rather embarrassing. Republicans have long argued that third-party ballot collection is a disguise for ballot harvesting and encourages voter fraud. Meanwhile, the Democrats argue that voters need help because they may have a lack of access to polling places or reliable mail service. Sure, blame it on the mail service. A reliable mail service. So, are you saying the mail service is unreliable, or just the area that they live in? Because where? What areas are you referring to? Everywhere I've been in the States, there's mailboxes and post offices. And look, if for one, I want Election Day to be a holiday. There's some people that were calling for it. That guy, Brooklyn Dad, the defiant, whatever, Uber Bryant, Biden stan. This guy is like basically a simp for Biden and anti-Trump to the max. Actually said, we need Election Day to be a holiday. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. So then people can actually go vote. Awesome. We don't need to have mail-in voting at all. People can take the time to go vote in wherever they need to get to vote, so that we can all vote that day and know who won that day. That's how it always has been until recently. They started bringing all this mail-in BS. Well, if we have a national holiday, we wouldn't have to worry about that. And I think that's absolutely something that we need to do. The Democrats, I mean, they're saying that it's violating the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And there's a provision that prevents every state and local government from imposing any voting law that results in discrimination against racial or language minorities. That's what they're arguing for. But it's rather reasonable to stop a third party from going to collect these places. Why wouldn't they just have go to the post office, right? Or take the time to, I mean, have the right to vote. It's kind of an important thing. I would want your vote. For me, I want to make sure my vote counts. And I've checked the Arizona registry, and I saw that my vote actually counted. Whatever happened with the election happened, whatever. But I voted, and my vote counted, which means a lot to me. I want to know that my vote counts. When someone comes and picks up your vote and takes it, that's a third party. It's not a government worker. Third party, okay? This is just, who knows? Who knows what their qualifications are? It's not the government, okay? And it's not the person voting. There's an exchange, and then it's basically a gray area where we don't know what they're doing with these votes. I don't know if they're altering it. I don't know. There's no way to know. So I'm totally with Arizona here. Man, Arizona coming in hot. They got the audit going on. I'm paying attention to the audit. There's absolutely some weird, funny stuff going on. Then we got the whole thing in New York. Ooh, 130,000 ballots were accidentally in there. I think they just didn't want the guy who was winning to win. That's what I think. But there's no way to know for certain. It's just rather suspect. Yes, I'll let you decide for yourself.